politician, no some fucker up around here. Have a morning that young one around here. Cause a full time we have see Jesus round here. Have a morning we have some good things round here. So no way I rip put crap around here. And then we go away with them wicked kids out. Dancing the do them with the Benjamin. And this is how the cookies do not get clean, yeah. And this is how the dirty do not get clean, yeah. I know who can't team but I get a trainer. Jesus come to wipe out all them skin, yeah. I know who can't hear them a go and feel, yeah. Now when them be the bad boy and the gangster from a morning, hundreds of us around here. And the victim them can't go up around here from a morning. Rich and get rich around here. Politicians and some fucker up around here from a morning. And just one around here. Cause a full time we have seen Jesus round here. From a morning we have some good things round here. So up here good crap we are rip around here. In foolish lies I sing, I live my life without the light. Yeah, and now, oh gosh, serving others who had ungodly pleasures. They said they love God, but they did not know that. Nobody told me of the blood that claims his sin. Nobody told me of the name above all names. Nobody told me of the blood that claims his sin. Nobody told me of the name above all names. Rain a fall and the breeze a blow. Driving a flash and the sun that's roll, yeah. Situations out of control. Father God, you want to open door. You make me smile, yeah. In the midst of my storm, yeah. Even though sage rough out there, and you wanna keep me warm. You make me smile, yeah. In the midst of my storm, yeah. Now give up, me can't give up. Yes, I keep on pushing on. So what you know, I admit it get rough at times. The pressure against the heart, it make me stop and cry. But me put me trust in a Jesus Christ. He say he not gonna leave me in there by my side. So that's why me put on a smiling face. Cause Father God I bring me through with style and grace. Again, problems we no got no time for waste. Because of Jesus I try me case. You make me smile, in the midst of my storm, yeah. Even though sage rough out there, and you wanna keep me warm. You make me smile, in the midst of my storm, yeah. Now give up, you can't give up. Yes, I keep on pushing on. State of emergency. This call for some urgency. All my people just wake up and see what's going in your frequency. Baby, no guidance, no direction. I just set see out to desperation. Abomination on every station. You not see this in corrupt nation. Fashion, so it's a doggy dog world. Every man fighting for himself. For you. And every week shot a boss man a stock like the book on shelf. So pray for the youths them, cause it not pretty out a road and them lurking in the dark at night. Pray for the youths them, them only fall a foolish friends and not ready to them fuss and fight. Pray for the youths them, because the world and the things and the system are set up right. Pray for the youths them, I said me know one day that the darkness must come to light.
Hey, you've been working hard every night and every day, trying to stay positive in everything you do and say. Keep telling people that your God will come through. But why don't you believe that he will do the same for you? You need to push a little harder, pray a little longer, he'll come true for you. Push a little harder, pray a little longer, gray skies will turn blue. Push a little harder, pray a little longer, he'll come true for you. Push a little harder, pray a little longer, gray skies will turn blue.
Boy, hey, just wanna take some on my mind. And the importance of the man named daddy. I mean, not talk about just having a baby. No, no. Send me talk about the real man. Now let this scene where the good days are bad come. Hey, shape up and take care of his own. And him respect the one who visit on the throne. So me pick up on me father them. Send me real true father them. Take care of your children and work and defend for your family. I me say pick up on me father them. I say me real true father them. Take care of your children. Jehovah says it, give honor to whom honor is due. So me just want pick up the good fathers in the world. This one is dedicated to you. Though it's hard, man, stay positive to bring the food back a yard, man. Oh, lead by example everywhere that you go, like Chris Martin. Me really want to be like me you. Pick up on me father them. Say me real true father them. Take care of your children and work and defend for your family. You cannot see no love amongst the people. We know all that's around, yeah. Well, I'm positive player, and me walk with a fire fear. I decide for DJ, you know. No love amongst the people. We know all that's around, yeah. And anywhere you want to come, a notice of eviction. Saddle up your things and go on. A long time in while you come out, yeah. My life belongs to Jesus. Said he promised to receive us. Saddle up your things and go on, Satan. We know why you are wrong, yeah. So we got no place for you. The promise of my father remains. Me no want walk in your mischief, no sir. Cause my father above not like that. You a follow greed, that's your business, no sir. All me want is loving on me heart. If you day I try to sow this card, well you know that's a fire would have blessed you. Me no want no pride, me no want corruption. Here's the solution, saddle up your things and go on. A long time in while you come out, yeah. My life belongs to Jesus, and God promised to receive.
This time for DJ and see the warfare turn up. The battle hot like a lava ground, whole place a burn up. Changes to the world.
We ain't got no place for you. The promise of my father remains forever.
You can't always be in control of what happens on the road, but you can control the tires you ride on. Thanks to Champon Tires, in testing condition, you are guaranteed of traction and grip, be it new or partly worn tire. Champon Tires are the largest import and exporters of tires in the UK. Locate us all over the UK. For Wakefield, contact us on 01924 262 043. Selby, Rotherham, Hull, and Birmingham, contact us on 01709 380-615, or you can visit us at www.champontires.co.uk. Champon Tires, safe when new, safe when partly worn. Do you feel left out in your education or career but still want to do something about it? Then don't fret. If you are a resident in the UK, British or EU citizen, then there is hope for you. You are in the age bracket of 21 to 55. The UK government is offering grants, scholarships, and financial support for first degree to masters in various courses. The government will pay all your fees and you can educate yourself in a peace of mind. From £21,000 per year for first degree, etc. Get in touch with GEM Educational Consultancy and we will guide you in applying for this facility. We are situated at 51 Albany Road, Hornchurch. The postcode is RM124AE. Telephone 079 0479 3019 or email us pastorjoeka@yahoo.com. Get financial support and acquire a degree.
Les talents du Yenenga. Bandé, et bandé, et bandé. Awayao. Baron Nikito Nikele Ajaloué Son Excellence, l'enfant terrible.
Hi, you're once again welcome to Starr Radio UK, and you're also welcome to the Mindset Show with Tony Williams. I'm delighted to have all you guys out here today. I'm quite sure you guys had a fantastic weekend, be it that the sun is now sort of slowly winding away. I hope the winter's not going to be such a fierce one. But good news for all the football lovers. You know, we have the English Premiership back on the TVs. You know, I think that 3-4 weeks break after the World Cup was even too much. You know, but yeah, something good to look forward to over the next what is that? 6-7 months, and you know Chelsea are going to do right by it. So yeah, welcome once again to the Mindset Show with Tony Williams. I'm your host for the show tonight. I'll be hopefully anchoring this show for the next 45 minutes and an hour. We obviously call the Mindset Show one of the shows that highlights or teaches us or talks us through how we could be a better version of ourselves. So most of the sort of principles I share here are principles of how we as individuals could help ourselves be better people in all areas of life, financially, relationship wise, work, career, you know, spiritually, mentally. And you know, for some of those who's probably gone through or gone down the wrong route, hopefully use these principles to transform yourself into a better version of you, and ultimately fulfill your planned purpose in which you were created on planet Earth. And obviously in doing that, that would be a benefit to everybody else who surrounds you or your close loved ones. So today, having said that, today we want to talk about how we define our purpose. Generally, purpose, as we all know, is what you have to really achieve anything that you want in life. There has to be a sense of purpose to anything that you're doing. You know, if you don't have a sense of purpose, it's just like sort of not having a goal that you're aiming for, or just being out there and not specifically intentionally going after something. So it's just like being in an open field, you know, where you're trying to horn into a target, but there's really no target because the field is just so wide and you haven't really defined what you're aiming at, you know. So that's the whole idea of defining our purpose. And for many journeys or many things that we want to do in life, we have to define our purpose, you know. In the grand scale of things, people look at it as, you know, a borderless mission, but the whole idea really is not for it to be so wide and vast and unimaginable and something that our mental capacity can't sort of comprehend. I think really the whole idea of how you define your purpose is defining your purpose in steps, you know, achievable steps. You could call them goals, you know, you could call it, or you could call them attainment, what you want to attain in life. You could call them, you know, a purpose would relate itself side by side towards a vision. So it'd be close to a vision, because ultimately, you know, when you look over all the barriers that probably might be blocking you from, or that might be, how can I put this, all the barriers that might stop you, or all the barriers that might be in front of you from achieving what you want to achieve, then at the end of those barriers, the ultimate, you know, vision, or the ultimate wish that you want fulfilled is the purpose. That's your main purpose. So you look at someone who gets up in the morning and he says, okay, by the end of the day, I want to make sure that I've achieved all of this, and I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. But in the midst of that, there's one thing that really is his actual purpose, that he would prefer that he's able to achieve more than any other thing for that day. So today I'm going to look at how, you know, how we could achieve these things. How do we differentiate between our purpose and, you know, our goals? How are we able to define, you know, our purpose in life, which is some of the things that I mentioned. What's the sort of interrelationship between, you know, our actions and our purpose? I want to have a look at what are the habitual patterns that we need to put in place to enable us begin that journey of being able to define our purpose. You know, I've got You know, a lot of people ask, can you really fulfill your purpose? Yes, and we'll be looking at how it is possible, excuse me, to fulfill our purpose. What are the barriers that, as I mentioned just in the summary, that prevent us from fulfilling our purpose? These are the things we want to look at today. Hopefully it would be a exciting show. I'll be able to sort of inspire one person or another out there, and we'll be able to take some of the hints and tips that I leave today and apply that into our life to enable us to get from a good place to a greater place in life. So that's what we're going to look at today. You're on Starr Radio, tuned into the Mindset Show with Tony Williams. As I always say, it is an interactive program. Happy to use the numbers down the screen, that's sort of scrolling through the screen, to contact us. The studio lines are always open, WhatsApp, text message, and we're always happy for you to continue the conversation on Twitter, on the Starr Radio UK Twitter handle. Right, how do we define our purpose? You know, how do we look at purpose? You know, as I said, purpose in itself is ultimately our exact wish that we want fulfilled. And I'm not talking small time wish as in our day-to-day wish. You know, our purpose, when we look at our purpose, what are we created for? Because when we're created, we're given each individual, you know, I'm of the school of thought, or I'm of the school of belief, I should say, that every individual is given some kind of talent in this world, you know, and that talent, whether you use it to whether you enhance it to make you a better person, or you suppress it because of the fact that you weren't able to identify it, or you weren't able to hone in it enough, or you had distractions that came and just overwhelmed it, that doesn't take away from the fact that you still had that talent, you know. And each talent is given, everyone's individual talent is given to them so that they could use it to help and aid humanity, or you know, which is our relations, our loved ones, our friend, our neighborhood, our community, you know, everywhere, every sphere of life that we could affect someone just by putting something out there. And when you want to look at things, to put it more in perspective, I should say, to put it more in perspective, every person's dream in life, like every person's dream, or everything we now experience in life, it's been someone's thought or someone's dream. The clothes we wear, the microphones, the computer, you know, everything, the room, the light, it's all someone's dream. When they've achieved it, they've achieved their purpose. They've achieved their goal, but they've actually achieved their purpose. Now, the goal really it's for themselves. The purpose is for the wider community, the people who benefit from it. That's why I said our talents are given to us so that the wider community. So when you have a desire, when you have a wish, when you have a dream which is bigger than a goal, and you achieve that dream, or you bring that dream into light, how do you say it? That dream manifests itself, then, and it begins to affect people in a wider scale, then you fulfilled a purpose. You know, because you've done something that's helped, you know, a community or people who are not just yourself, but people who are around you have benefited from your existence. And when you look at people who put these sort of things in place, who achieve, everyone who in one way or another tends to achieve their purpose in life, they impact someone. Someone has to be impacted. Purpose is never selfish. Purpose is never myself. Purpose is a mission bigger than yourself. Do you understand? So therefore it's a dream. So it's not really, that's why I said it's not just on a day-to-day basis. It's not just for you to get up, wake up and say, I want to achieve this by the end of the day. I want to achieve this by the end of the day. It's more of a long thing, a desire that you have to work to achieve. Like, so I mentioned earlier that purpose is at the end of all the barriers that you look across to get to. So when you look at all the challenges, all the barriers, and sometimes when you do look at purpose, it's just such a big dream. It's something that you're constantly working on. It's like an open field, as I said. So it's just open, and you don't know how to get there. There's nothing in place. You're definitely going to meet challenges. You're definitely going to meet failures. You'll definitely have to cultivate the ground. You definitely have to put the seed in the ground. But even so, it doesn't guarantee that seed is going to germinate and become, the fruit that you want. So that is purpose. So you're constantly working on it, constantly working on it, constantly working on it until you achieve it. There is an idea of what I would call achieving a purpose or having a purpose in mind. It's not just a goal. A goal is it's more reachable than saying a purpose. A purpose sometimes is a lifetime mission, and it has to impact the wider community around you. So how would we be able to say that we've reached our purpose? Now, because purpose is really an ongoing thing, I really don't think a lot of people get to that stage where they say, I've reached my purpose, I fulfilled your purpose could be in motion, but to completely fulfill it is at the total level of that, and I always use that Abraham's Maslow hierarchy of needs sort of pyramid expression, where the people at the top are just satisfied, everything, their mission is complete. When you have a purpose that's impacting people, it's an ongoing thing. So prime example would be someone who, like Bill Gates, he's fulfilled his purpose, but his purpose is still a mission in that's continuous. So there you realize that once he's done Microsoft and everyone is benefiting from it, all maybe I don't know what the statistics are, but surely a number above 50% of all corporations probably benefit from Microsoft's engineering or what kind of softwares and then he's fulfilled that, but he's moved on to something else, because then his purpose, his mission has moved on from that, and he's moved on to something else. So you feel fulfilled, but it doesn't really mean you fulfilled your purpose, because the purpose is an ongoing thing. Because as long as there's humanity, there's always people that need to be impacted. And when you understand your mission, which is similar to your purpose in life, then you realize that as long as you have breath, your aim in life would be to continually to try to impact people and make a difference in changing people's life. So what's the interrelationship between our actions and purpose? So how could we figure out what are the things that, how our actions relate to our purpose? So I really think when you have a purpose and your purpose is well defined. Now it's well defined. You know exactly what you're on planet Earth for. You know why you wake up every single morning, and it's not just to wake up to pay the bills or wake up just to You know, you're waking up because you're walking every step to ensure that you achieve, you know, or fulfill the wishes and the desires in your heart. You would realize that your actions, because your purpose is well defined, you know, everything that you do, every breath that you have, all your actions will, in one way or another, it will be horned towards achieving your purpose, because it's clearly defined. You know it, you know. So it's easy for you to live every moment or every step in that present awareness state of where you are, and you know where you are, you know where you need to be. And even when you sort of go out of line, or you drift to the left or drift to the right, you can easily identify with how far you've gone, what you need to do to get back, and how much effort you need to put to get back in track. And you know, defining your purpose then, in that sense, gives you a relationship between what you do, you know, who you associate with, where you go, you know, how much hours you sleep, you know, how much effort you put into your work, how many, you know, hours of TV you watch, how many hours of social media you want to sit on, you know. It just literally enables you to cut out all the clutter, if you want to put it in that way, and eventually put yourself in a situation where you're more structured, and you're constantly able to check yourself, like check mark yourself on all your actions and all your activities and endeavors to hone you towards the purpose you want to achieve. So in retrospect, there's really not going to be no wasted time or wasted effort or baseless conversations, or everything is channeled, everything is structured, everything is sort of tabled out, mapped out appropriately to enable you get to where you want to go. So that in therein is a relationship between, you know, the interrelationship between your actions and your purpose. And if you do that often enough, or if we find ourselves doing that often enough, we realize that we're in control of ourselves and our external environment, as opposed to our external environment being in control of us. You know, so I ask that question all the time. What are the things that you can do to now enable you know that, okay, every day I wake up, I'm working towards my goals, or working towards my purpose, or working towards my defined purpose. And I think there are a number of things you could do. Well, I've listed about 6 or 7 things that I think are important, and what I've listed are things we could do, because I'm not, I mean, many people say, yes, external factors, but I think change actually begins inside of us. You know, like the old proverbial saying, like charity begins at home. If anything you want to do, it begins in you. If you don't get yourself, you know, how you see yourself is how the world is going to see you. So if there's going to be certain change, or if there's going to be a wave of change that's going to happen, it has to begin in you. We as individuals have to take responsibility for ourselves. We nobody else should, as a grown person, obviously, nobody would take, maybe some people do, I'm not quite sure, but ideally nobody should take responsibility for you as a grown person. You should take responsibility for yourself. So you should take responsibility for your actions, you should take responsibility for what you say, you should take responsibility for how you present yourself, you take responsibility for what you eat, what you look, how much you drink, how much you smoke, your timing, your work. You take responsibility for everything, because the moment you don't take responsibility for it, then you give the banner of your happiness. It's just like someone running a 400-meter race, and then you run with the banner, you run with the banner, you run with the banner, and then when you get to the 100-meter, 4x400 meters, that is actually, that's it. And then when you get to the appropriate mark, you hand over the banner to someone else who's going to continue the race. And then you've shed responsibility, you've handed over responsibility. Whether they win that race or whether they don't win that race is none of your concern no more, because you've handed over the banner. So that's how it is when we allow external factors, or what people say from the outside, or what people's opinions are, or what people's mindsets, or or their perceptions about us, when we allow it to cloud our own judgment. So I think, first of all, in anything, we need to take responsibility for ourselves. So here are the 6 things that I think are important that we need to know in terms of how we define our purpose, and how we make decisions that would align us or begin to push us towards our desired, our wishes fulfilled, and our purpose in life. So one of them is, it all begins in the mind, as I always said. You take responsibility, but obviously, if your mind is not in the right place, you cannot take responsibility for yourself. So the first thing to do is fix your mind on what you want. That's it. So you've defined your purpose. You know what your purpose is. I want to impact, the next generation. I want to create, one of the best apps that the people in my, it doesn't have to be extremely big. I want to create the next app that the people in my niche would benefit from. I want to open up the next community radio that would go from being a community radio to a full-blown radio station, and I want to open a website to be similar to selling some of the greatest products that could be bought online. Whatever it is, I've just got my examples don't necessarily have to fit into your scheme of things, but the truth of the matter is, in order to achieve that, it has to be clearly defined. So I've listed a whole lot of different things there, but for you, or for whoever the individual is, you have to be able to define it. So a purpose could be, maybe you're 16 or 17 and you could say, look, I want to be, and maybe you're a sportsman, I want to be the best sportsman that I could be. Maybe you're training to be a football. Maybe you're training to be a footballer. I want to play at the top of my level. I want to play at the top of my game. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to hone on my skills day in, day out. I'm going to train rigorously. I'm going to eat correct. I'm going to abstain from abusing my body, smoking, drinking. I'm going to go for all the trial. I think the trial season is over now, but it might still be on. I'm going to go for all the trial seasons that I could possibly, and even when I get turned down, even when I get rejected, I'm still going to keep on going, because this is my desire. This is my purpose. This is my wish that I truly want fulfilled. This wish is out of my hand, but I'm going to within me, I'm going to use it to I'm going to use the strength within me to present this wish before every single person, in the football community or football clubs that I go to. I'm going to present this wish to them, and they would be able to see my hunger and the burning desire to achieve my goal of being professional footballer. And it goes the same way if you want to be an entrepreneur, if you want to be, anything you want to be. You want to set up your business, anything you want to be. You want to be a world championship golfer. It's at that level where you get to that place where it ultimately begins, or you get to that place where they call you professional. It's because you've defined your goal or your purpose completely, that it's this sphere of things that I want to be known as a professional in. So therefore you wouldn't see someone like Lewis Hamilton, for instance, being a professional race car driver and then a professional footballer at the same time. It has to be defined. So when it is defined, when it's fixed, and it's defined, then you could begin to sort of channel all the energy and channel all the resources, and start knocking down barriers and jumping over barriers, just to make sure that you're honing yourself towards that specific purpose. It's only after you achieve that purpose and you fulfilled that purpose that you could now move on to something else. So a prime example would be Usain Bolt, where he's won everything that could possibly be won in the track and field, athletics, track and field. I think it's called track and field. And then he's now decided that he's fulfilled, and he's now decided that he wants to go on to become a professional footballer. But he didn't do that while he was still running. He had to complete that, fulfill that, and then he's moved on to a next mission, which is the next purpose. So it has to be fixed at any given time. The very first thing is to be able to fix that purpose, fix it properly, be able to see it, let it be in the forefront of your mind every single time, that this is what I want to do, this exactly is what I want to do, not a variant of it, not a substitution of it. So you're saying you want to be a professional footballer, you're not saying, oh well, I'll settle for just being a semi-pro. No, you've got to believe, thoroughly well defined that this is what you want to do, and all the efforts that you put into it, you need to start honing those effort into being exactly that. No substitute of that thing at all is acceptable. And even when you're working towards it and you fall short of being that specific thing or becoming that specific thing, you should only know that that setback has left you a seed to progress more, or to understand about that thing or the challenges that you would face in the line of becoming that thing a little bit more. So that's been, having a fixed idea on what exactly the purpose you want is, a fixed mindset, I should say. Number two, you've got to determine what exactly you want to give to attain this thing, because a lot of people always think things come for free. There's no substitute for hard work. Nothing at all is a substitute for hard work, and there's nothing that's going to come to you for free. There's nothing that's going to come to you just sitting on your laps, and unless it's the lottery, and even so you have to play. You can't not have a lottery ticket and win. So there's and even so you still have to give. You can't just go to the shop and say, give me a lottery ticket, and not play it. They're not going to give it to you, so you're not going to win. Something has to give. It's a give and take thing. So you have to do. But when you fix your goal, you have to determine and say to yourself, this is what I am prepared and willing to give to ensure that this purpose, I attain it. Whatever that is, I don't know. Whether that's you're going to be cutting off hours, you're going to be cutting off sleep time, you're going to be changing friends, you're going to be partying less, if it's, hell, I don't know what whatever it is, but there just has to be some form of sacrifice that you're prepared to give. You know, because you could look at different sort of purpose that you want to attain in life, and if you don't give any form of sacrifice to it, it's highly impossible that you're going to get halfway to that. And as they say, things that we don't even sort of give sacrifice for, we don't really value. So the moment you start, you know, giving sacrifice and saying, oh, this is what I want to give, this is what I feel I'm gonna, you know, give up for this is what I'm gonna feel, there's an element of yourself that starts to feel fulfilled and starts to know it within yourself. Remember, all these things are factors within yourself. You start thinking, well, I'm on the road to fulfilling this. You know, I'm on the road to fulfilling it. I'm on the road. And as I said, even when you fall short, you know, you could always come back and say, well, I've given up this much. Well, wouldn't it be better if I just continue, or do I just want to retract? Or, so you've got to be able to know what exactly you want to give. You've got to be able to define your purpose properly. Thirdly, you've got to establish a proper time limit. You can't just say, I'm happy to achieve this thing at any time. How about if it takes you a lifetime? If it takes you a lifetime to achieve it, and then you're dead before you achieve it, then your purpose is not fulfilled. I.e., the late Miles Monroe said, you know, in one of his books, that when you look for the richest place on earth is in the graveyard, because so many people in the graveyard, they died with their purpose that hasn't been achieved. They died with their plans, they died with, you know, massive dreams, and it's all just buried. And once you're gone, then those purposes can't be achieved anymore. So there has to be a time scale in which you want to use to achieve it. Because once you give yourself a time scale, even if you're pushing the barrier back, you know, you've still got a time scale in front of you, and know that this is something that you're working towards. And remember, we're talking about defining your purpose, which also could be called definiteness of purpose. You know, so you're being definite of this purpose you want to achieve. You're not leaving anything to chance. You're not just thinking, not que sera, sera, it's all gonna just happen overnight. No, you're defining it, and you're putting corresponding action into that, what you're being definite about, to ensure that you get it at the set time that you've described. So that's fixing your mind on your purpose, fixing a set purpose, like a set purpose in front of you that you want to achieve. That's determining what you're prepared to give, you know, to achieve this thing that you want. That's establishing an exact date. You've got to establish a time, like it's 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. You know, you've got to give a plan. It has to have a plan. It can't be endless. Remember, I said some people, they got to I said Bill Gates, he did Microsoft, then he moved on to it. Yes, because he set that by this time, okay, I realize I'm happy with this. I could resign from the board of directors of Microsoft and go and do something different. He didn't say I'm going to sit there forever and ever. You know, I'm never going to find when there's going to be a stop to this. So, yep. And then fourthly, we've got to create a plan. There has to be a plan. There has to be a plan in place for us to know that, okay, these are what we need to do to begin the process of, or begin the journey towards achieving our purpose. Because like anything, you can't just get into a car and just begin to drive endlessly, or just get into a car and not put no destination in it and just begin to drive. Petrol will run out, you wouldn't reach no destination, or better still, you just go lose your way or come back home, nothing's been achieved. But if you get into a car, you go into your Navi, you have a set destination, you map out the routes in which you're going to use to get there, you realize you get there, straight away it will tell you a time. You realize you get there on time. You realize, you know, you pay attention to all the spots, you know. So even as you're going and then you come across some traffic or something, you'd be like, oh, this is traffic. This traffic is going to delay me. This traffic is going to push me back. This traffic is going, you know, let me look for a different direction to go to get to where I'm going. That's only because you had put a set route there. That's because you had put a time there. That's because you have defined your destination. But if you don't do none of that at all, and you just get into the car, start the car, and say, yeah, I'm going on, you know, you end up just being a merry-go-round journey. So, fifth, I think you've really got to do all that I said in 1, 2, 3, and 4. So, for the fifth point, I've said in defining a definite of purpose, that means you've got to write all these four things down. This would be the fifth one. So you write down the fact that you need to fix your mind on what exactly you want. You write down that, look, I need to ask myself, what am I prepared to give to make sure that I achieve this goal, or I achieve this purpose, or I begin the journey of reaching my desired purpose. What date and what time or time scale have I given myself to ensure that, you know, I'll be able to know that these are the junctions that I'm in towards my destination, towards my desired plan, towards the wish I want fulfilled. You know, so what time scale do I know to know whether, oh, I need to put in more effort, to know whether I'm ahead of plan, to know, you know, there has to be a time scale. And then obviously you have to create your plan, and you have to write all of this down. This is the fifth thing. When you write them all down, so it's visible to yourself. So it's not just something that, you know, you think, oh well, yeah, and then before you know it, you've missed one of the steps. So it's all written down nicely like that in your own words, you know, with the answers that apply to the purpose or desire or the dreams that you want fulfilled. And then the sixth one, which is the final thing I put there, is you have to read it regularly. You know, once it's all written down, clear, you know, and I always use that scripture, Habakkuk to write the vision down, make it plain, write it down, make it plain. Even though it tarries, that's even if you go on distractions, you know, self-caused distractions, and the vision tarries or the purpose tarries, you know, because it's there, because you're reading it to yourself on a regular basis, because you're seeing it, is, you know, even when you go off, you come back, you read it like an inspiration. Oh, this is where I am, this is where I want to be, this is my goal. Tell me, this is my goal today, this is my purpose, this goal is what leads me, you know, 2 steps forward towards my purpose. Eventually you realize you get there. But when you don't have none of these steps in place, when you do not have them in place at all, the tendency is that you one would go off, one would forget their plan, one would forget the time, one would forget the goals, one would forget most of the important things that they need to do in order to achieve what they want to achieve. And above all, we just have to have a burning desire, and that burning desire is the thing that flames these whole things. So that burning desire, if all these 6 things is the vehicle, that burning desire is the petrol that flames and fuels these kind of things. You have to, if you personally don't have that burning desire within yourself, that this is something you want to achieve, this is a goal you want to get, then it's impossible for any of these things to happen or come true for you. That would be it on today's show. I hope you all had a fantastic time. Yes, it was a bit short and fast, but we have to know that for every one of us was created for a purpose in life, and it's my hope that we all are able to identify with our purpose, and we all are able to impact life, impact our, our relationship, impact our loved ones, every community that they plant us as an individual. It's my prayer that we're able to impact and leave a positive impression that would impact and change lives, because that exactly is the ultimate goal of why we were created. Have a fantastic time. Until we speak again next week, good night and God bless.
online, on mobile, and soon on DAB. This is Starr Radio UK, the leading
Thanks for listening.
radio station in London.
Thanks for listening.